Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanadari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanadari Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanadari Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Mr. Padmanamam Supreme Jakacharya Asatra Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakora Vaishnavini Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem Sika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavanam Ki Jai Shri Maya Pranavidam Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Go Premanandi, all glory some devotees, all glory some devotees, all glory some devotees, all glory, Shishi Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, The Characteristics of King Puranjana. Text number 4. Shreyas tvam katamad rajan karmanad mana ihase dukahani sukhavapti Shreyas tan neha chesyate Shreyas tvam katamad rajan karmanad mana ihase dukahani sukhavapti Shreyastan naya chesyate Shreyastram katamadrajan karmanat mana ihase dukahani sukhavapti Shreyastan naya chesyate Shreyastvam katamadrajan karmanat mana ihase dukahani sukhavapti Shreyastannaya chesyate karmanat mana ihase Shreyastam katamadrajan dukahani sukhavapti Shreyastannaya chesyate Shreyastam katamadrajan karmanat mana ihase dukahani sukhavapti Shreyastannaya chesyate Shreya, ultimate benediction. Tvam, you. Katamat, what is that? Rajan, O king. Karmana, by fruit of activities. Atmanaha, of the soul. Ihase, you desire. Dukahani, disappearance of all distresses. Sukha avapti, attainment of all happiness. Shreya, benediction. Tat, that. Na, never. Iha, in this connection. Cha, and. Ishyate, is available. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni asked King Pratyabahisat, my dear king, what do you desire to achieve by performing these fruitive activities? The chief aim of life is to get rid of all miseries and enjoy happiness, but these two things cannot be realized by fruitive activity. Purport. In this material world there is a great illusion which covers real intelligence. A man in the mode of passion wants to work very hard to derive some benefit, but he does not know that time will never allow him to enjoy anything permanently. Compared with the work one expends, compared with the work one expends, the gain is not so profitable. Even if it is profitable, it is not without its distresses. If a man is not born rich, and he wants to purchase a house, cars, and other material things, he has to work hard, day and night, for many years in order to possess them. Thus, happiness is not attained without undergoing some distress. Actually, pure happiness cannot be had within this material world. If we wish to enjoy something, we must suffer for something else. On the whole, suffering is the nature of this material world, and whatever enjoyment we are trying to achieve is simply illusion. After all, we have to suffer the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. We may discover many fine medicines, but it is not possible to stop the sufferings of disease or death. Actually, medicine is not the counteracting agent for either disease or death. On the whole, there is no happiness in this material world, but an illusion person works very hard for so-called happiness. Indeed, this process of working hard is actually taken for happiness. This is called illusion. Therefore, Narada Muni asked King Prachinabarhisat what he desired to attain by performing so many costly sacrifices. Even if one attains a heavenly planet, he cannot avoid the distresses of birth, old age, disease, and death. Someone may argue that even devotees have to undergo many distresses in executing austerities and penances connected with devotional service. Of course, for the neophytes, the routine of devotional service may be very painful, but at least they have the hope that they will ultimately be able to avoid all kinds of distresses and achieve the highest perfectional stage of happiness. For the common karmis, there is no such hope, because even if they are promoted to the higher planetary systems, they are not guaranteed freedom from the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. Even Lord Brahma, who is situated in the highest planetary system, Brahmaloka, has to die. Lord Brahma's birth and death may be different from an ordinary man's, but within this material world he cannot avoid the distresses of birth, old age, disease, and death. If one is at all serious about attaining liberation from these miseries, he must take to devotional service. This is confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma chame divyam evanyo vekti tattvata tyaktva dehang punarjama naitimam eti sorjana. 4:9 Bhagavad Gita. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Thus, after attaining full Krishna consciousness, the devotee does not return to this material world after death. He goes back home, back to Godhead. That is the perfect stage of happiness, unblemished by any trace of distress. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksham Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurve Namah Mukam Krotavachalang Pangunlang Hayate Gurim Yat Kripa Tadaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Vanchakalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaisnavevyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Narada Muni says here that people are trying to avoid miseries and enjoy happiness. Pretty much that's the substance of this material world, to avoid distress, experience happiness. But everybody's experiencing distress. Actually, this material world, it's not designed for happiness. Just like Davida and myself, when we were born, the doctor picked up our little feet and gave us a smack. Welcome to the material world. They don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. They, I read about it. Now they just take a towel. What it is when we're in the womb, you can't breathe. There's no air there. We're getting oxygen from the blood, but there's some liquid in there in the lungs that's got to be removed so we can breathe. So they just take a towel and they just rub it over their torso, or sometimes they have to use some suction device, to remove this liquid. But actually, still some places in the world, you're born, you just slap. Welcome to the material world. Then they make them. Then they cry, and then they're able to breathe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the lungs. So that's the material world. It's just right from the beginning. There's some suffering. I remember my first. I don't know if I mentioned this, but my first real pain, my first real suffering in the material world. It took some time. I had a dog named Frisky, and we were inseparable. We just had so much affection for each other. He got run over by a car. I'm sorry, and I was just devastated. Yeah, he was right behind me. Oh God! I mean, I was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old or something. It was just like, it was just devastating. Yeah, it took some time to get over it. But that's the material world. Yeah. Birth, death, old age, and disease. You can't avoid it in this world. Therefore, it's stated, dukkhalayam asashvatam. It's a place of suffering. The father of a friend was teaching me how to drive a motorcycle, how to ride a motorcycle. So he wasn't a very good teacher. He took me around a field, maybe it was a mile, half a mile maybe. He was in back. I was 14, 15 maybe. He was in the back. I was in the front, and he was showing me what to do. We went around the field once, and he jumped off. He said, "It's all yours." I said, "Oh, thanks a lot." So I was going around a turn, and I was trying to figure out, what's the accelerator and what's the brake, and you're trying to figure all this out. So I'm going around a turn, and the turn is I'm going a little too fast around that turn, and there's a fence there, so I hit the fence. I slid into the fence and went up against the fence. Fortunately, there was a fence there because there was a 15-foot ditch on the other side. So the brake pedal ripped into my ankle. 25 stitches. Doctor said by the time I'm 40, I'd be walking around with a cane. So now I'm 65, no cane yet, so that's pretty good. But how much can you enjoy your ankle? No one enjoys their ankle, but it can cause so much pain. There's one devotee, he shut his car door, and he didn't know his little finger was there. Crushed the bone. I mean, how much can you enjoy your little finger? But it can cause so much pain. So much pain can be caused by just so many parts of this body. You can't get any pleasure, but they can cause so much pain. Doctors don't know how many diseases there are. Now this COVID-19 just came up. There's so many things just come up. So many diseases, they don't know. So this material body, it's not meant for enjoyment. There's one devotee in Los Angeles. She was on a walk. She was walking, and she tripped. Ishana, Ratna's wife. Yeah. So I think she went on her elbow and then her shoulder. And now they put a piece of metal in there, and she's still. I mean, this is like a year ago. Still, she's not back to normal. 2 weeks later, Ratna Bhushan was riding his bike down the street. He gets hit by a car. Good thing he had a helmet. He'd be dead. He had a helmet, unfortunately. But he's limping. His hand's not normal. Yeah, it's just So yeah, the material world, it's just it's no fun place. Ernest Hemingway, the famous writer, was told by his doctor, if you have sex anymore, you're going to die. That night he committed suicide. Yeah. How can I live without sex? That was it. Yeah. Committed suicide that night. Yeah. I was at a university, and in the university one field there was like hundreds of backpacks. And one lady was setting them up. I said, well, what's this all about? She said, well, there's about 2,000 backpacks here, and these are the amount of students that have committed suicide this year. Yeah. No, like they. Oh, yeah. Well, it was the end of the year. It was the end of the year. Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, Prabhu. Yeah. Yeah. You know how many suicides there are in a year in America? They're around 35, 40,000 every year. 2,000 students. No, not one. The whole country. Sorry, the whole country, not one university. A lot. It wouldn't be all the students would be dead, or half of them. So, yeah, I mean, the material. I was in a class one time, and the teacher asked, "How many of you have thought of suicide?" And practically everybody raised their hand, except for me and one other person. I was like shocked. Like, what? These people thinking of killing themselves? I couldn't believe it. And then later, I also thought about it, just to be normal, yeah. Yeah. Huh. Oh, really? Uh-huh. Yeah, so material world, it's not a nice place. And, this person, Alexander the Great, before he died, he had this disease. The doctors, they couldn't cure him of the disease. So he told one of his intimate persons there, he said, this is what I want you to do: 3 things before I die. After I die, I want you to do these 3 things. And after, for the funeral, I want you to have 6 doctors carry the coffin. I said, all right. And when I'm in the coffin, I want you to have my hands like this. Okay. And I want someone to be throwing gold coins in the dirt in front of the coffin as it's going. I said, okay. Now, why do you want all this? He said, well, this is what I've learned. So many doctors trying to cure me of this disease couldn't do it. And we say, Rakhi Krishna Mori Ke, Mori Krishna Rakhi. If Krishna wants to kill you, no one can save you. Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. So doctors couldn't do it, so have them carry. He said, my hands are out like this because I'm born in this world with nothing, and I'm leaving this world with nothing. And the gold coins, I was so wealthy, I conquered so many countries, now it has no more value to me than dirt in front, just dirt on the ground. Just throw the coins on the dirt. So he was a little thoughtful. And Prabhupada tells of one story that I think he was in India. He conquered some of India. And while he was there in one city where they had overtaken, they had caught one thief. So they brought this thief to Alexander the Great and said, this person's been caught stealing, what should we do? And he gave some punishment for him. And the thief said, well, why are you punishing me? You're a thief. I'm a thief, You're a bigger thief. I'm a smaller thief. Partners in crime. And Alexander the Great said, Good point. That's right. I'm just a thief. I'm just coming stealing. So we let him go. So that's what actually, mostly that's what we have in this material world, is people are thieves. You know, we're born in this world with nothing, and we get things, and we think, oh, this is mine. It's not mine. We leave with nothing. Isa vasyam saram yad kinchit jagatyam jagat. Tena chak jena bundita magradha kasya suddhanam. Everything that exists is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, we should only take that which we need as our quota and not take more, knowing well to whom everything belongs. So unfortunately, we have so many people that are, I heard that the 100 wealthiest people in the world, they have more money than everybody in South America combined. Yeah. So a lot of hoarders, billions of $100 billion. What do you do with all this money? It's like, it's ridiculous. So we don't need much. I remember reading when I first came to Krishna consciousness. I think it was in the Bhagavad Gita or some book, that devotees, they eat to live. The karma is they live to eat. Yeah. Just like in France, when they have a thing, and at parties, they would eat so much, and then there was a vomit room. They would go in there and vomit just to give more room. Yeah. They could eat some more. Yeah. So they're trying to enjoy so much. But the result of trying to enjoy this world is that people, they have to suffer also. This is the nature. And actually it's a blessing in disguise that people suffer in this world. Because if everything is nice, then people don't look further. They don't look deeper. Yeah. Everything's good, I'm all right, I don't need God. So it's a blessing in disguise. I'll give you an example. Imagine there's a well, okay, a deep well. And in this well, there's some water. And there's a rope hanging down in this well. And in the water, there's a crocodile. And hanging on the rope, there's a man. Okay, you got the picture? So he's hanging on this rope, and the water is rising. So if the water is rising, that means the crocodile is rising also. Now you got the man hanging there. Now we all know, we've all done it, we've all tried it, trying to climb up a rope. Not easy, right? It's not easy to climb up a rope. Body's, heavy, and we don't have big muscles. Not easy. But if you have a crocodile coming towards you, it becomes very easy. You just climb up there. No problem. The adrenaline starts flowing, right? So you just, no problem. So when there's difficulty, this gives impetus to inquire. Maybe there's something beyond this world where there's so much suffering. And therefore Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chatur vidha bhajantim jana sukatirnarja artha gigyasa artharthi jnani cha bhartarshaba. That there's 4 types of people who come to me. Arthar gigyasa arthi, those who are distressed. A lot of people come because they're distressed. People start searching. Maybe there's something more beyond this world. And there is. There's a place where there is no anxiety, there's no distress, no suicide, no anxiety, Vaikuntha. No problem, no disease, no old age, no problem, no birth. So that place is there. So if someone is really inquiring, then eventually they'll find this path, this bhakti path. So people come because they're distressed, people come because they're looking for wealth. Religions have a lot of wealth. There was one person, he had tried so many businesses and they kept folding, And one person said, well, just start a religion. So he did, and he became very wealthy. So, religions have a lot of wealth also. I mean, when Prabhupada started this movement, there was 40 rupees, and now, can't imagine. Lots of crores. I mean, who knows how many crores now? Hundreds of crores, probably. So people come because they're inquisitive, also. Just like sometimes people, they see the Hare Krishnas and they might be a little inquisitive, and they'll look up in the internet. And then people come because they want to know about God. And Krishna says these are the most dear to him. Those persons who want to know about me are the most dear. So those are the ones that usually come and stay in our society. So many people come and so many people go, but it's the persons that come and are actually seriously wanting to understand God that stay, mostly. Remember when the movement started back in 26 2nd Avenue, everybody was so happy chanting Hare Krishna and taking Krishna Prasadam and associating with Prabhupada. And it was just so, everything was bright and wonderful and so nice. But then someone left, and everybody was shocked. Like, how could you go back out into the material world, the ocean of material suffering? How can you do that? So devotees were shocked, and Prabhupada was surprised. And some months later, then someone else left, and someone else left. And then Prabhupada said, don't be surprised about those who leave, but be surprised about those who stay. Because this is Maya's kingdom. Maya is very powerful. Davi hesha guna maya mama maya duratya mama vipapadyante maya mitam duratite. So this divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders unto me can very easily cross beyond it. So yeah, it's not easy. The path is not easy. But we should understand that this place it's a place of suffering. So why waste time in a place of suffering? Prabhupada says in one purport that this material world is a place of suffering. And one should not try to find happiness in a place where happiness is just a myth. It's just a myth. It's mythology. Like sometimes you hear people, they say, oh yeah, Hindu mythology. Yeah, it's a very common thing they say at the university, Hindu mythology. That's what they think it is. But actually what is mythology is the idea that we can be happy in a place of just so much suffering. Yeah. So that's the real myth. So here in this verse, this word Shreyas is here twice. Now Shreyas means ultimate benefit, or also ultimate happiness. That's another meaning. So the ultimate benefit that one can achieve is to engage in pure devotional service. This is the highest benefit. And it's not that we can attain that only when we're in the spiritual world. Actually, we can attain it here. Iha yasya harir dashe karmana manosagya nikila sapivasasu jivan mukti suchite. That one who engages their mind, body, and words in the service of Krishna is liberated even within this very lifetime. Yeah. So, even within this lifetime, we can achieve the highest happiness of pure devotional service. So this is the mercy of Krishna, that we're getting this opportunity, and how we can improve in our life. There was one devotee, he was talking to somebody, and this devotee asks this devotee, an advanced devotee, how can I advance in Krishna consciousness? And he said, well, try this. Get a tablet, and at the end of each day, write in there what you did for Krishna and what you did for yourself. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. What did I do for Krishna? What did I do for myself? So do like that, and eventually get it to the point where you're only doing things for Krishna. Every day you're only doing things for Krishna, nothing for yourself. And then get a little more subtle. The things that I did for Krishna today, did I do it actually for his pleasure? Or did I do it for some name, fame, adoration? Get a little more subtle. So I thought, well, that's a nice, barometer of how we're advancing. What am I doing for Krishna? What am I doing for me? Just try to focus on that, doing everything for Krishna. Sounds good, huh? So this, the ultimate good, Shreyas, the ultimate good is that people take to Krishna consciousness. Now, some people can't appreciate spirituality. I'll give you an example. Javita Prabhu asked me to say something about book distribution every once in a while, end of classes. So I was distributing books once in Australia, and I knocked on a door, and an American answered the door, and we were talking. I said, well, what are you over here for? You're from America. He said, yeah, when Nixon became president, I left. I'm sure a lot of people left when Trump became president. They're leaving right now. So I presented the Bhagavad Gita to him, and he said, well, no, that's okay. I'm not interested. I worship Satan. I said, well, you worship Satan. This is about God, so you should know your enemy. He said, all right, good point. All right, yeah, I'll take one. Yeah. So hopefully, when he read it, he found out that actually Krishna is his best friend, not his enemy. I was distributing at a university, and one Muslim person came to the table. I was explaining the Bhagavad Gita to him, and I told him, this will actually help you get closer to God. And Muslims are generally very religious people, and by the way, we're not trying to change your belief. There's always more to learn, though, about God. He said, that's true. Yeah, God's great. He's unlimited. So there's so much more to learn about God. So I said, yeah, you should read it. I'm sure you'll appreciate it. You seem to be a thoughtful person. So he said, well, I'm kind of interested, but if I take this home, my parents will kill me. And actually, believe it or not, in the Muslim religion, if you leave the Muslim religion, that's what's the word? That gives reason to be killed, and it happens. And actually, believe it or not, Tara, Tara, when he joined, he's Muslim. He's from he was born in Saudi Arabia. He's 100% Muslim. Very nice devotee. Very nice devotee. Distributed books for like 20 years or something. He's in Poland now. So one of the arguments that his mother gave to him, that you're of Muslim descent, and if you give up the Muslim religion, we can be troubled, and they could come after you to kill you. You know that, right? But he just laughed. Yeah. Because he's in America, maybe in Saudi Arabia they can do something like that. It's not going to happen in America, so it was pretty intense. I remember walking by. He was sitting on a bench with his mother, and he's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, and his mother's sitting next to him, crying like anything. Yeah. She passed away. They both passed away since then. They became favorable, because Tara is such a nice devotee. So Yeah. So this Muslim man, he said, "No, my parents see me with this book. Phew, oh, they'll go nuts." I said, "Well, you know something? God is more important than your parents." And he was, wow, I never thought about that. Yeah, God is most important. More important than my parents. But he said, "No, I can't take it." So then he left. Next day, I'm at the table. He comes to me and he says, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you. You won't believe what happened. Middle of the night last night, I'm sound asleep, and I have this dream. My parents are harassing me. They're very cruel to me, and it was like a nightmare. And then this Bhagavad Gita is glowing. It's glowing. I'm thinking, wow, maybe I should read this book." In the dream. So I told him, "You see, I told you. God is more important than your parents. You see, they can be very cruel, but God, He's always the most kind." So he took a Bhagavad Gita. Krishna helped there in that one. That's in there. And there's one more. I was distributing books in a university, and this Christian came by, and we were talking about Christianity and Krishna consciousness, and so I offered the book. You could learn something more. This is a very common thing with people of other religions. I tell them, we're not trying to change your belief, because they become defensive. You try to give a book from another religion. No, I have my religion. No, we're not trying to change your religion. There's always more to learn about God, right? Okay, that's true, all right. But he wouldn't take. So then he came back a couple hours later and gave me $20 for Bhagavad Gita. I said, "Well, that's very intelligent of you that you're studying different religions." He said, "No, well, I have a Book of Mormon, and I want to study this also, so I could see where my enemy is at." I was shocked. Like, what? Again, hopefully I'll... Yeah. It's like... Yeah, people are so close-minded. So hopefully he reads it and finds out also that actually Krishna is your best friend. Book distribution is a real adventure. You never know what's going to happen. So nice. I think we're going to have to start going out again soon. Any questions, comments? It's not working?
So you're talking about this point of knowing these people, like with the Satan guy, you said, "Oh, you should know your enemy." And this Christian, so I want to study this to know my enemy. So maybe you could comment on the idea of, like devotees, say knowing Maya, knowing the enemy, or just in general. I don't know what other enemies you could say that devotees have, but maybe you could comment.
Well, our own mind is our enemy. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said the mind is a non-devotee, and therefore this is the biggest challenge. Actually, Krishna says, "Durjyana mahammana," of difficult things to conquer, I'm the mind. So it's a challenge to conquer the mind, to turn the mind into a devotee. And therefore, because the mind is a non-devotee, it's difficult to hear the holy name attentively, to read Prabhupada's books attentively. Because the mind, like I mentioned not long ago, that it like the other senses, it wants to enjoy. It doesn't want to serve Krishna. So it's a subtle enemy. It's an enemy within. So if you have an enemy within, that which can conquer this enemy within also has to go within. And therefore we have the Hare Krishna mantra. We have Prabhupada's books. So the key is that we have to pray to Krishna for help. We need help. And Krishna, he wants to help us. But we have to be very determined and let Krishna know that this is what I want. And that patience, that determination, that, of course, that helps a lot. What is an enemy? An enemy is someone who doesn't like us, right? For one thing, and not thinking of our welfare. So the mind is actually it's like another entity, just like it's said in the third chapter. Avatam jnanam etina jnanino nityavaya kamarupena konteya duspena naleja. The wise living entity's pure consciousness is covered by his eternal enemy. So not only the mind, there's the lust, it's the eternal enemy of the living entity. And this, where does the mind, where is this lust situated? Anybody know? 3 places. Mind, intelligence, and senses. So the enemy is within, and it's got a very strategic position. Our mind. So this lust is another enemy that works through the mind. Greed, envy, these are all enemies working through the mind. So not only is the mind the enemy, but these different subtle, these subtle senses, they're also working through the mind. So it's a great challenge. It's a great challenge that we've entered. When I read the Bhagavad Gita, I thought, oh man, this is great. And then I heard about the temple. Oh, that's wonderful. You got the devotees, and you got a temple there. And I had no idea that I was entering into such a great challenge. Conquering the mind, conquering the senses, and developing our love for Krishna. But if we can do this, if we can conquer the mind, if we can conquer the senses, if we can develop our love for Krishna, then we've achieved the goal of life. We go back to Krishna. We don't have to deal with this anymore. As Prabhupada says in the last sentence here, or last couple sentences. Thus, after attaining full Krishna consciousness, the devotee does not return to this material world after death. He goes back home, back to Godhead. That is the perfect stage of happiness, unblemished by any trace of distress. So this is our goal. This is what will happen if we take this very seriously and sincerely. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki